Jacksonville Patriots game?
I watched I haven't watched any of it. I've been kind of following on my phone. You want to talk about that a little bit or
Yeah, we can just jump into it.
okay?
No, but
Um,
I was hoping that New England was gonna tear up Jacksonville's defense because they've not been good
me
lately.
yeah, me too, man. Yeah, just like looking at like the stat line, like I don't know, man. Thomas continues to be a liability for teams, man. On the deep ball, that guy is a stud going
Yeah, he
forward,
took
I
he
think.
got he got a short touchdown. I think it was in the second
Hmm
quarter, and then he got like a 57-yard bomb in the
57
second quarter
yard.
too.
Yeah. He's not really getting like a lot of receptions per se, but I think he's solid because he's getting those long balls and T-Law looks his way in the end zone too, it seems. So,
Yeah, they were saying on the broadcast that he's the leading rookie in receiving yards this year.
that's crazy, man.
Yeah, I
I
mean
believe it
Neighbors
though. I
Neighbors has
believe
been
it.
out a couple games, but
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like all the people that took like Worthy or like Ladd or, guys like that and like the rookie draft might be kicking themselves a little bit, for
yeah,
passing up on BTJ. So,
yep.
yeah, he's been impressive. I mean, I think he's like what, like on KTC, he's like top 7 or top 8 dynasty wide receiver right now. Like
Yeah, I
it's
mean he's on the
unbelievable, man.
upswing. There's not a lot of
Yeah.
guys I would want over him right now.
As far as rookies, I mean, yeah, MHJ. I don't even know about MHJ, man, because he's been injured and sometimes Kyler kind of like doesn't look his way as much as I thought he would.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean I still got to believe in the upside of MHJ over BTJ right now, but
absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I
it's
agree.
crazy that now like Neighbors is the consensus number one for sure.
Neighbors, that kid is special, man. He's generational in my opinion. Just like
I'm
looking at
excited
his
to have
play
him back
style.
this week. Who do they play?
He-
Do you know?
the Giants this week,
Let's
they
see.
play Philly today.
Okay, and Philly does not have a great defense either.
Mm-mm. They're giving, I think that they're legit, like, I think they're like bottom 2 or bottom 3 in the league,
That's
just
fantasy
overall.
goodness right there.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Do you have
You and your
Neighbors in
AJ
any of
Brown
your leagues?
neighbors, I don't. I wish, man. I wish. He got snatched up pretty quickly in my redraft league. Like I think he went like in like the first 2 rounds or something like that, man. And
Really?
I just didn't have the draft placement to get him, or else I would have.
Yeah, I think in my two redrafts, MHJ went like early to mid second round, and Neighbors fell to
Yep.
like third or fourth, I think.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
I think the guy that took Neighbors is either an LSU fan or a Giants fan because he went really
gotcha,
early, man. So,
gotcha. Yeah, it's paid
but
off.
yeah,
Like getting him in third or fourth, that's been a steal.
absolutely. No, I mean, he's put up what, like since like every game he's been healthy, he's put up like at least 20, right? Like 20 plus PPR points. So, I mean,
Yeah,
geez, man.
they were saying earlier today the last three games he's played, he's put over 20 points. So
Gosh, yeah, that's elite. That's elite production, man. And I mean, I think he has like a very high snap percentage. He's like in like 90% of the snaps and yards per route run. I think he's in one of the highest in the league too. Like his production as a rookie is just, I mean, that's who you want like, most rookies to turn into immediately. But
yeah, no, that's like
he
shades of Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase level.
it is, man. LSU boys are those guys are dogs, man. Straight up. It's different.
ETJ and Neighbors right there at the top.
ETJ neighbors, man.
And
Yeah,
Daniels
honestly.
too, that offense from LSU popping
How do
off.
you how do you feel? I want to ask you, like he's rated QB1 on KTC, and I know I keep bringing up KTC, and a lot of KTC data is
It's a
skewed
good
and
reference point
whatnot.
though.
It is. You can't take it for face value, but for yeah, for a reference point, sure. But I think he might be slightly overrated right now. I'm not gonna lie, like putting him over like Josh Allen, putting him over. I don't even know. Like I'd maybe take. Would you take him over Josh Allen right now?
It depends on what we're talking. Like, are we doing talking a startup? We're just starting our team fresh, or are we doing like straight up trade
Um,
based on what team we have now, you know?
I guess like a startup. Yeah.
It would be it would be in consideration. I haven't really thought about it in those
Wow.
terms yet.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but the thing with KTC is it's just reflective of the hype of the community. You know,
It is.
it's not actual
It's
production, and
correct. Yeah.
it's just a way for people to compare value of players, obviously. But
Yeah.
if you want points now, I think you want Josh Allen. You know, he's more
Yeah.
consistent. He's done it for longer. I
Definitely.
mean, but if I was gonna like start a startup and draft a team, I might have to take Daniels because he's rated number one and because the community's so high on him. Be willing to trade him for the value. What if I could get? What if
Yeah.
I draft Daniels and I trade him for Allen and a third? Like I'll take that any day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. And you gotta factor in age too, man, because Josh is 28. I mean, yeah, he's a dynasty stud, but Daniel's got six years on him, So with the rushing upside, he looks good, man. Like he looks generational to me. Very elite. Great
Yeah,
metrics coming out of college, won the Heisman. I mean, like he's pretty much everything you could ask for in a rookie pick, you know?
it's
And
so
I'm and
great for
I'm
that
sure.
whole Commanders offense. I mean, McLaurin
Yeah,
has had a resurgence. He's back to wide receiver, two easily every week.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. Basically, Daniels has revitalized McLaurin's career in a way because he's always been
Oh,
kind of like that, that like solid WR2, never a WR1, just top 20 guy every year. Nothing crazy jumping off the, um,
and
you
he's
know,
never had good quarterback play, never.
never. Mm-mm. Nope.
So, so
Absolutely. Yeah.
this could be
So
great for
sometimes
his
that's all it
career.
takes, man. Just an elite quarterback to step into to that room and just, yeah, guys just pop off. So
So
I'm
you don't
excited
you
to
don't
see like
sound too
what the Commanders
you,
do.
you don't
What's
sound
that?
too sold on him though right now, like as an elite quarterback.
Daniels?
Yeah,
It's early. I think it's still pretty early. I like him a lot. I think he's got great just vision. Like I've watched a couple Commanders games. Like he's very poised in the pocket. Like he makes good decision making. Like he has good decision making. He's just still like pretty skinny guy. Like I'm just worried like if he takes like a pretty big hit from somebody, like he might get hurt. He might
yeah,
just need to add some muscle on his body. But as far as like just him as a player, like he's great, man. Like he's everything you could want, obviously. But
yeah. He's super
I
exciting. I
he is.
definitely was thinking that he could go along the Justin Fields track, where like he's going to be exciting and score a lot of fantasy points, but the team doesn't necessarily
Yeah,
win. That's what I was thinking at the
right.
beginning of the season, but now they're winning. So if he can just keep
Aren't
it
they
up,
leading that division?
they very well could be. I think they're 4-2. They probably are.
I think they are
Division
because the
sucks.
Cowboys they got smacked last week.
Ah,
Sorry for all the Cowboys fans out there, but my goodness, that was.
sorry, not sorry.
Did you see a Stephen A. Smith's reaction again?
No, but I'm sure he was pissed.
No, he loves when the Cowboys lose, man. He does like those like hella funny like YouTube videos where he like pans on
Okay.
himself and he just starts like he just like starts like cracking up about it. You got to check it out, man. Stephen A. Smith Cowboys losses is great,
All
man.
right. Yeah, I'll have to look it up.
It is pretty awesome. Yeah, yeah. So
So right now,
yeah.
Stroud over Daniels. Would you do it? Straight up?
Stroud over Daniels. I would take Daniels. I think, man.
Okay.
I would take Daniels. I love Stroud. Stroud's my boy. Though. I got him in my redraft league. Literally named my team after the guy. Daniels is elite though, man. Especially like in our dynasty league with the 6 points in rushing TDs. Uh, yeah, dude, I gotta take Daniels there.
So what do you make of Patrick Mahomes though? I have him in a two quarterback
Mahomes.
league,
Yeah.
and I got an offer earlier this year that I was very close to taking, but I ultimately didn't. So dude was trying to trade me Justin Herbert and Tua for Mahomes. Obviously
Justin
Tua was
Herbert and
hurt,
Tua for Mahomes.
and Herbert hasn't been good.
Did you take it or you didn't take it?
I didn't take it. Mahomes hasn't been producing, but
Yeah.
you
I
gotta
think
just
you
bank
still made
on
the
his future.
you you made the right choice. I don't even think I would take that right now, honestly. Herbert has dropped off significantly. He's still a good quarterback, but I don't think he has the weapons around him to ever be like crazy to pop off.
Yeah, but he could get weapons at any time though. Like,
He could definitely get weapons at any time, and I know they're talking about maybe bringing back like Mike Williams to the team before the trade deadline,
what if they
because
trade for Garrett Wilson?
or Garrett Wilson. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. it's more realistic they'll probably get Mike Williams because Aaron Rodgers basically like wants that guy off the team that he dropped that freaking deep ball pass
Yeah, he's in the doghouse.
into the doghouse. Yeah, yeah. That could be very interesting though if they get Garrett Wilson on the Chargers. Whew. Wow. Yeah. That could then if we're talking about that trade that you said earlier, Mahomes and Tua for or excuse me, Herbert and Tua for Mahomes, I'd probably do that trade then, man, honestly.
It's so scary to trade Mahomes, though.
It
That's the
is,
problem.
but I feel like he's a better real life quarterback than a fantasy quarterback right now.
He definitely has been. I mean, he has no
Yeah.
weapons now. I mean, it's Worthy and Kelsey and Hunt.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
so
Absolutely. Yeah,
he's
how you feeling
definitely.
about the Niners game today?
I mean, the Chiefs have our number, so I'm not feeling good at all. I
Yep.
want to win. We're
Yep.
favored, but I don't
Yep.
have any confidence at all.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, as long as you're going up against Mahomes, you cannot count them out. I mean, he just finds a way to win. Whether he's got all the weapons in the world or no weapons in the world, the guy just he's 5-0. So you can't take your foot off the pedal for 1 second against Kansas City, man. And their defense is like very, very good this year. Obviously, they're like top three. So I mean, you cannot let off that gas pedal. So yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah,
interesting. Brock's got to
that's the
play
part.
basically a perfect game today to win.
That's the
So
part is their defense. I think they're going to end up just shutting us down. Like we haven't been able to score 30 points, you know? So, and
what
I think the Chiefs
like
have held everybody under like 25 or something this whole year.
like
So,
I think McDuffie is like literally like the cornerback one in the league right now. Like he's allowing like I mean I think him and Sertan are like literally like neck and neck for the best corner in the league. Chris Jones always gives us trouble. Yeah, I mean, yeah, their front seven is nasty. I mean, they kind of remind me of like when the Niners had our elite defense, a couple years back when we were just unstoppable up there, man, before we got rid of
yeah.
Buckner and all those guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, we cannot tread lightly with this game. We gotta come out and score our points like right away.
No
We
doubt.
cannot
No doubt.
be down at halftime. Absolutely not. Can't trail because then yeah, it won't end well. So
No
we
doubt.
got to
Yeah,
start the game hot.
I
So,
benched Ayuk in 2 leagues.
oh, you
I
did.
started Demario Douglas over him for the
Oh,
Patriots.
wow. And how is Douglas doing today? He is
He's had a
not doing
couple of
the.
catches, but nothing really.
Yeah. I mean, the
Um,
Patriots are. That's tough, man. That's a tough. I mean, Drake May has looked really good though. Honestly, like last
I
game
know.
I watched Drake May. And I watched him in North Carolina too, man. He looked really, really good. So I think he could be special. Obviously, he's very raw, very young. He'll be a project quarterback, but he's got the talent and he's got the rushing upside to be really good. So I'm excited for the Patriots, man. I think that's the kind of guy that, they want to build their organization around.
Yeah, he
I
looks
think,
good. I think their offensive line is struggling a lot. They were saying they've
hmm
had like 7 or 8 different configurations of their line,
oh,
and they're just
wow.
getting a lot of pressure. And they don't have like
Yeah.
elite weapons or anything. But Drake May looks like the real deal. He just needs time.
I mean, right now he's 20 of 30 for 217, 2 touchdowns, 2 carries for 17 yards. I mean, no picks. Solid, man. Solid
Yeah,
production from a rookie.
he did most of his work in the first quarter of this game right now,
Did he
and then
really?
he
Okay.
just he just led a scoring drive where he had like 2 30-yard catches or passes,
Yeah,
and then
got
a
you.
touchdown pass. So
For sure.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to see his development. What do you think about T-Law, man?
I mean he's just so mid.
He is
I
so
mean
mid,
BTJ
man.
makes him
He's
better.
so mid.
I was really hyped for
Yeah.
Christian Kirk. I thought he was gonna be like a big
Yeah.
target getter this season. He has
Kirk's
a
got
couple
one
of
catch for
catches, one
24
catch.
yards. Yeah.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
catch that he had actually looked really good. I was watching it
What
earlier.
what did it?
Um,
Okay. Nice,
yeah,
man.
he
Nice.
snagged it out of the air, but he's just not getting looks. And then like Ingram is an important part of the offense, and he's been getting solid targets.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
think
I
the
mean,
defense
Ingram
is just
is
too bad.
yeah,
I don't know.
definitely. For sure. I mean, BTJ being there, like Kirk's not going to get the opportunities that he did last year or the year before. I mean, it's just that's tough.
Yeah, I'm worried about
Uh,
ETN though, because Bigsby's looking fine, and Dearness
Bigsby's
Johnson's even
22 carries
doing
for
great.
107 and a touchdown. That's whew. Yeah, he
Yeah,
looks
so
good. He looks
ETN
really good.
shares down.
Stonks are down, man.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Sell
tough.
sell Bigsby high though, because he's going to be in a
So
committee and he's popping off right now. Sell him
true.
now for any first, guaranteed.
I
Would
know
you sell
Doug
Bigsby for two
Peterson.
seconds?
he likes to run by committee, so I know that can be kind of a volatile running back for him right there. So like you said, yeah, kind of I would probably do that, definitely.
What about Bigsby for 2 seconds? That's tough.
It, if I was a Bigsby owner, I'd probably want like, yeah, that is tough because I don't think you'd get a first from anybody, like a late first.
Yes. Yeah.
That'd be
I
hard,
mean, maybe like late first for a team who's competing and is desperate for a
right?
running back. You never know.
Hmm.
That's the one you want to target.
Absolutely, yeah. I'd have to think on that one, man. I mean, 2 seconds. Does that really help your team though? Like,
Yeah, it
I
depends
don't know.
on your build and where you're at, I think.
It's very situational. I like Bigsby a lot, though. I mean, he's what, 22? Yeah, he's gonna be good, man.
I
I
mean,
like
but that's the
Bigsby a
thing
lot.
is like moving forward, ETN's not going anywhere, Bigsby's not going anywhere, so it's just going to be another one of those frustrating committees. And
It
and the
could
line,
be.
it's
I
not
was
going to
gonna
be
say it could be
Montgomery
like.
Gibbs. Like I don't
It could,
like that's not as common, I don't think. I mean, they're both
I don't
good,
think.
but I don't think the offense is good enough. It doesn't produce enough to really like Montgomery scored a touchdown in every game he's been in. You're not
I
going to
had
get
no
that from
idea
the
that Monty would
Jaguars.
be that good, and I have Monty in both my dynasty league and redraft league, and I love that guy, man.
I actually
He
just
is.
traded away Monty in the league.
Oh, you did? Why is that?
Yeah. So I was getting Amon-Ra St. Brown in the deal. Let me see.
Okay, I can see why you did it
So,
now.
all right, so I gave up DK Metcalf and David Montgomery, and I got back
Okay.
Aaron Jones and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So
That's solid. I mean, you're getting the best player in the trade with Amon Ra, and
that's what I
Aaron
was
Jones
thinking.
is still like a top 15, top 10, 15 running back, or even
Yeah,
better sometimes. So
and he's the
I like it
unquestioned
for
number
you.
one. While Montgomery is definitely splitting carries, and he's getting a lot of production for it. I think he's RB 5 or 6 on the year, but
Yeah,
he's getting a touchdown in every single game, and I don't think that's going to continue. So
I don't think so, man. I think Gibbs is. I mean, I think he's just crazy. So I think on the depth chart, he's actually moved up to RB1. I don't know if you've seen that, but
Montgomery did.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah.
That's
Yep.
wild.
Wild, man. I know Gibbs will still continue to eat though. He'll still get the reception targets, and they're still going to hand it off to Monty at the goal line, though, man. So I know that pisses off a lot of Gibbs owners. So
Yeah, but I mean, Gibbs gets a lot of high leverage touches. He's catching a lot of
he
balls,
does.
so he's all
He
right.
does.
He's
I
doing
mean,
fine.
that they are I run first team, Detroit. I know like they like to air it out to like James. They're going to keep running the ball because that's what they're good at, man. I mean, Dallas could not stop anything last week. I mean, the run, the pass. I mean, the Lions are going to be very, very scary this year.
Yeah, I think they just have a
you
good
know?
all-around offense,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they can do
The
whatever
the
whatever the defense gives them.
the injury to Hutchison was brutal for them for the remainder of the season, but I
I was
think
gonna
that they
ask you about
can.
that because it
Yeah,
literally makes their defense worse, which means they're probably gonna give up more points on average, which means they're gonna have
yeah,
to score more. So technically, for
true.
fantasy, is that better?
I would say so because if they're giving up more points, they're gonna have to score more points. So if they're trailing, like yeah, you're gonna have to figure out a way to score points. So
We're gonna
yeah, it
see.
definitely
We're gonna see
helps.
in the Vikings game today because both those teams are top in the NFC.
I'll be watching that in about an hour, man. That's gonna be a juicy one for
Yeah,
sure.
it's exciting, no
Yeah,
doubt.
absolutely. That one's in Minnesota. Oof, yeah, man. Like
Who's
those
winning that
Minnesota
game?
fans, they hit different, man. Like I was just in Minnesota a month ago, and there's some super fans there, man. I respect it. I really do. They love their teams over there. So
So you're on the Vikings then for this game?
yeah, yeah. I think so like remember when Donald created that like pick thing, like where we're picking teams every week to win.
Yep.
I think I went with the Vikings, man. Let me see. So I originally had Detroit, and I did go with the Vikings this week.
Okay. Yeah, I did
Yep.
pick the Vikings, but I could see Detroit winning that one. We'll see. I think I probably went with
It's
the Vikings just because they're home. But
it's very close. I think it was like 52 to 48 win probability. Yeah, man, that could swing either way. I mean, that's a 50 flip a coin. So,
yep,
how are you doing in that uh,
the picks league.
overall? Yeah, I haven't really like
Um,
been paying attention. I think
I mean, not amazing. I'm third out of four. Um, I think I missed like only one game this year.
yeah. Yeah,
Um, but I've been trying to like call my shots and pick some upsets here and there because I
me too.
know every week
Yeah.
there's upsets. I
Yeah,
just haven't been able
absolutely.
to pick the right one, so
Like let me
that's
see
just
if
the way
I
to go.
chose a. Yeah, so like for example, like Pittsburgh and the Jets. I'm going Pittsburgh, man, at home, but they're actually favored to lose the game. So
Okay. Yeah, I got the
I
Jets in
like
that one.
I like Pittsburgh at home. Their defense is going to suffocate the Jets, man. And I do not think that Devontae Adams going to the Jets solves their problems, man. They have a lot more issues than, you know, just adding him to the team. I mean,
I
obviously
hear you.
he's going to get his, but
I think fantasy wise, he's about to go off this game right now, this week, for sure.
Devontae,
Yeah.
you think so?
I think
How
Aaron Rodgers
does
is so stubborn that he's just going to give him 15 targets.
It's very possible. How
Yeah.
do you long term if the Jets do retain Garrett and they don't trade him? Do you think what do you think about his productivity the rest of the season?
I'm downgrading Garrett Wilson as hard as it is for me to
Really?
say.
Wow.
I think that he just
J-
wasn't able to establish that connection with Aaron Rodgers. I think
It's
Rodgers
very fair.
wants him to be Adams and treated him as if he were Adams, and he's not. He's different, and you have to, adjust your game towards him. Now that
Sure.
Rodgers has Adams, I think Garrett Wilson's just going to fall by the wayside, honestly, over the next couple of years until his contract is up, and then he's going to leave because he's not happy. That's what wide receivers do.
I agree with you. I agree with you. On the flip side, though, it could open things up more for Garrett, but I still think that Aaron is going to hyper focus and hyper target Devontae because
Red
that's his
zone
guy.
is
It's always
Devontae.
been his guy.
Third down is Devontae. Like
Yeah.
I don't see the
Yeah.
volume.
And
Like
I,
the only thing that's been
yeah,
keeping Garrett Wilson afloat has been the volume, like almost 40 targets over the last 2 weeks. He's not going to get it.
he's not. He's not. And honestly, with even with the targets he's been getting, he has gotten a couple touchdowns, but like honestly, he has like I think one game he had like 20 targets with like 11 receptions, but he only had like 90 or 100 yards or something like that. So he was only really getting like 8 or 9 yards per, which is still solid, but it's still like you said, they're lacking chemistry. Like there's something there that it's just not clicking
Yeah, that's
as
what it
much
is, and
as,
it
you
really
know,
does seem
yeah,
like he just wants him to be Adams, and he's not. So like
for sure.
Garrett is going to be Garrett, and you got to appreciate him for that.
That's a lot to expect of a up and coming receiver, man. To mimic your game from a guy that you've played basically your whole career with, like
Yeah,
you just can't expect that of a player, man. So I get that, but at the same time, like you gotta if you're Aaron, man, like you can't just like no, like Garrett's his own player. He has his own skill set. He's absolutely talented. Like he's got as much talent as any other receiver in the league. I think the Jets just don't know how to utilize Garrett, man. Simple as that. They don't know how to utilize him, and then just Aaron is too freaking stubborn, man. They just can't get on the same page.
yeah. The Robert Saleh firing, that was so dumb. It needed to be
Made
the offensive
zero
coordinator.
sense.
Like it's
Solid,
the
come back to
offense is
the
the problem,
Niners. We'll take you.
right?
We'll give you whatever you want, man.
No doubt. Just come be a consultant or something.
Literally. Come be a consultant, see how Sorensen does. If he shits the bed, then we'll promote you right there to defensive coordinator again. Easy.
Yeah. Dude, this
I would
this
love.
view with us sitting in these auditorium seats right here, it got me cracking up.
It's pretty funny, man.
It's a
And
chill
I'm
style.
not
Hold
even
on,
like I
let me
probably
put my
should be
arm
like
around.
sitting up a
What's up,
little bit
though?
too. I'm like slouching. Literally look like a little kid, man.
Right.
It's funny. Well, I
Oh
think
dang, now you're
next.
close.
Oh, geez.
We in there?
Whoa. Whoa, we in there? What the heck? Yeah,
Hey,
we got to
I was
figure this
looking
out.
at our gentlemen's club league um, scoring projections, and you're second overall this week. How are you feeling about your team?
I feel good, man. Cup ain't playing, so that kind of hurts me a little bit. I was really hoping that
Definitely.
he would play, but I feel good, man. I feel good.
You
Just
made a
to our
big trade this week
viewers,
with Godwin.
I did. How do you feel about that trade, man, that I made? I was gonna ask you.
So set the stage for us. Tell us what the trade
So
was and what you're
the
thinking.
trade was let me pull this up just so I don't mess this up. So I traded away Brandon Ayuk, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Tutu Atwell, and a 26 third round pick for Chris Godwin and a 25 first, which is probably projected to be bottom three.
So probably like 8, 9, 10 ish in the
Eight,
first
nine,
round.
9 to 12 ish because it's
Oh yeah, there's
Donald. So I
12 in
would
this
say
league.
Yeah, I would say it's probably bottom three, so probably 10 12, which I'm still good with. So I like Chris Godwin a lot, man. I like him a lot. I've liked him for
28
I've
years
been
old.
trying to get, yeah, 28 years old. And mind you guys, this is a dynasty league we're talking about, and this is a recent trade that I made in this league with David here. Not with David himself, but in our league. I like the trade for me, man. Like getting that first round pick definitely like helps me be more comfortable with the trade, even though I
Yeah.
gave up
Yeah.
two decent assets. I'm kind of off Ayuk, man, for now. As much as I love my Niners, I don't know. That's tough. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, like Ayuk's best season of his career is behind us. It was last year.
100%
He
agree. I think he
he's
reached his
never,
peak last
yeah.
season.
Yeah, he's never
Yeah.
getting back to that. If you look at like the
Mm-mm.
efficiency metrics and everything from last year, like it's not a
Yeah.
sustainable number. He just doesn't get enough targets in that offense. And he
There's a lot of
just
mouths to feed too, man. Kittle is eating this year. I mean, he looks great. I mean, I feel like
yeah.
he's focusing more on Brock is focusing more on targeting Debo this year. It seems that's his guy. Him and
Yeah, I
Kittle
mean,
are his guys, man.
I think what Brock is doing right now is just taking what the defense gives him. He doesn't have Christian
Absolutely,
McCaffrey to rely on anymore. And so I think the
100%.
best thing that could have happened to Ayuk's fantasy stock is for him to go to a different team. And with him re-signing the contract long term, I think he's just going to be stuck in this low end wide receiver two area now with all the weapons that we have on this
Right,
offense. And I honestly
right.
didn't realize that Chris Godwin was the wide receiver one on the year. That's pretty dang good. Number six
Like
player overall in our fantasy league.
he's outproducing Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. Like it's wild, man. What this guy's doing. And honestly, I really like the move for the Buccaneers to move him back into the slot, like he did back in. I think he was in the slot like in his earlier days in Tampa, and then they moved him out to the edge, to
Yeah.
like play like the traditional wide receiver role. And now that he's back in the slot, like he's eating, bro. Like it's ridiculous. Like he's averaging like 10 targets a game. I mean, he's had a couple games where he's over 100 yards, multiple touchdowns. Like he looks good, man. So, yeah,
I think it was a very sneaky good deal for your team in this league. With Chris Godwin, you got the most productive player in the trade for this
hmm
season. He's going to score the
yeah,
most points hands down. And then the
yeah,
first round pick, it's very possible that that's the second best asset in the entire deal. I mean, it's hard to
agreed.
say
I
that
agree.
Ayuk is not worth more than a late first, but judging on like
That's
his future outlook, I think it's right there. It's very close
that's
either
kind of how
way.
I valued BA is yeah, I agree with everything you said. I don't really value him more than a late first, so getting that first. So it's basically like I traded Godwin for, just kind of counting it out here. Godwin for JSN. I feel like Godwin's worth more than JSN
Yeah,
by a little
that's
bit.
hands down. That's easy.
And then the first for Ayuk, and then a third and Atwell, which he's worthless. It's pretty even across the board, man. I don't think like either of us like got the better of each other. I think it made sense for his team too because he's in more of a rebuild this year, and which didn't really make sense that he gave me his first round pick in that regard.
That part, I think Ayuk is the fool's gold in the trade. I think
He
he's seeing a
is,
name that has been productive in the past,
yeah,
and he's going for the youth. But I
right,
think giving up the points in Godwin is probably smart for someone who's trying to tank, but he doesn't have his own first. He has his own second,
yeah,
which, maybe that's going to be the 202, 201, 203,
could
whatever.
be, could
But
be,
he just gave
yeah.
up a first for Ayuk, who's we just said he's probably peaked. So
Absolutely.
I,
Absolutely. And
I
I'd
think
much
it
rather
ends
have
up being,
Godwin even though he's 2 years older than Ayuk, I think he'll still, as long as because I know that he's due for another, he'll be a free agent, at the end of, I think this year. He's signed
okay.
through 2024. So either they're going to re-sign him with a new deal, which I can't imagine they wouldn't do with the production that he's showing, or he's going to get traded to a different team, which that could concern me a little bit. But if he re-signs with
Yeah.
Tampa and Baker is still the quarterback, like I think this is a great deal for my team moving forward. So
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Like his situation going forward is going to dictate whether or not this trade is a win long term.
absolutely, yeah,
But getting Godwin now for you could lead to putting you in a place where you could win a championship. Obviously things have to
Absolutely.
break your way, but it gives you a better chance right now to win. And if you do
Yeah,
end up stealing a
absolutely.
ship, then it's obviously worth it.
It's
Um,
worth it. Yeah.
Godwin's
I just need my
situation,
guys to stay healthy, man. That's it. I mean, if they don't, then it wasn't worth it. But that's just
yeah, I mean,
fantasy. You just never
everybody could
know.
say that, right? We all need health.
Absolutely.
But I'll
Hmm.
just put the bow on the conversation about the Godwin trade by saying that his situation has a lot of variables in it. Mike Evans only getting older. I'm not sure like how long he's signed with the team. And then
Yeah,
also I don't know Baker's contract situation. But if everything stays the same for Godwin, there's no reason why he can't continue to smash. So hopefully he stays on the
exactly.
team and he just
100%.
goes
Yeah,
crazy.
and that was all indicators of why I did the trade. I mean, I know JSN is still only 22 and he's a great dynasty asset, but I don't like the situation he's in still in Seattle. I still think that he doesn't really look like I thought he would being in Seattle. I thought he would eat a little bit. I don't know. I don't know
Is
if
he a
I
good
trust
dynasty
JSN.
asset?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Is
I
he?
personally don't. That's why I'm re-rolling him for the first round pick, dude, because I think I can
Yeah,
get another solid player that could potentially be better long term than JSN. It's just all these decisions that you really have to think about and you have to pull the trigger on if you're really wanting to do it. And yeah, I was
yeah,
willing to risk that and get rid of him, even though I do like him. But like you said, I don't think he might be a great dynasty asset long term.
yeah. I think it's fool's gold again. I think getting any first
Definitely,
for JSN is just the smart way to go. He hasn't like he's
100%.
shown flashes on the field, much like Garrett Wilson. You
Yeah,
see it, but he's not doing
absolutely.
it. So
He's not. Garrett's so he's in a tier or two ahead of JSN, man. I just haven't seen anything elite from JSN that would make me want to keep him, if that makes sense.
yeah, just re-roll for a first. You get flexibility. You
Absolutely.
can trade the first later. You can get a different position. I think it's smart.
Because like first in general don't typically lose a lot of value. I mean,
They're only
draft
gonna
pick.
increase when we get closer to the draft.
Exactly. Yeah. So me re-rolling for that first, it was a no-brainer when he wanted to do it. So yeah, definitely a good trade. And yeah, definitely we'll monitor the Godwin situation moving forward. But I love that for my team this year. So see what happens, dude. So
Heck yeah.
you want to just go over some of like maybe just like the games today and just like the potential just like matchups or what are you thinking?
Yeah, I was thinking about just going through like some of the matchups in the Gentlemen's Club if you want to do that, just to make it a little
Sounds
bit
like
more targeted.
sounds like a plan. Yeah.
We talked about yours a little bit. You're going up against Stray Day. You're sitting at number
Mm-hmm.
4 in the league right now. He's number
I
10.
am.
You're projected to win
Yeah.
by about 20.
Still pretty close though. I mean,
Any
so
interesting
I have
start sit decisions that you needed to make this week, or it was pretty much straightforward
so
for you?
pretty straightforward. I did have to sit Cup because I thought that he was going to start today, so that was kind of a bummer. And I think that he would have absolutely shredded the Raiders.
Can't wait for
Honestly,
him to come back.
definitely. Yeah, I'm,
Who'd you
I'm
put in
really,
for
I'm
him?
really. I put in Lad McConkey for him. So Lad, I really haven't had a chance to start him much this year, man. And he's actually questionable this week too, but I think that he'll play. I think it's a hip injury, but he's been practicing. He's been limited, but I'm hoping he plays. If not, then I may have to pivot to someone like Yosibas, which isn't really great for me. So my depth isn't amazing this year. I have some studs, and then I don't really have great studs on my bench. So I'm hoping Lad plays. If not, then I'll pivot. But yeah, it should be an interesting matchup, man,
Yeah, I mean,
between me
Lad
and
is probably
Dre.
the weakest link in your starting lineup right now, but you have Cup sitting
Definitely,
there waiting for health, so
absolutely.
it's not
I
a
think
bad
Cup
situation to be in.
Cup should play next week. I'm thinking they'll. I think they're just holding him out just for safety reasons, and they don't want to rush him back. Obviously, high ankle sprains are not something you want to rush back because you're just gonna the chance for re-injury is high. So yeah, let's see. So just kind of going player by player. So I have Brock Purdy going up against Kirk Cousins. I feel like Brock should have a. I mean, I don't know. With the Kansas City defense, though, that's going to be tough to see how well Brock does this game.
No
That one
consideration
could
for swapping in Anthony Richardson there.
that's tough. Yeah. I do have Anthony Richardson on my bench currently, first game back in what, 2 games after the oblique injury? Ugh,
Yep.
I don't know, man. That's tough for me. I do like it, AR, but I think I'm gonna sit him one more week to see how he does today against the Dolphins.
That's fair. I think Purdy's a safe play. With you
Yeah,
being favored by 20, you don't want to take, a single digit performance from your quarterback. So
I, absolutely. Yeah, if Richardson gives me 20 or more this week, I don't know. I might consider swapping him for Purdy on hard. Depends on the matchup, I guess, for me.
I would say if that happens, then he won't be on your team next week. I think you would trade him.
See, this guy knows fantasy. And it might be to you. You never know.
We'll see. I'll buy him now before the game.
I know I know you don't want to buy him when he pops off. I get that. His price goes up, and yeah, it's
Yeah, Dre's in an interesting position. Has to start a tight end in his superflex position. He has
I
Tua on
saw
IR,
that. I
so
saw that.
maybe he'll be
But
getting Tua back here in a couple weeks.
definitely Sam Laporta in a super flex spot though against the Vikings. Excuse me. Could be interesting, man. And the Vikings have a very good defense though, so
Yeah,
I don't know how that's going to pan out for him. I hope it
yeah.
doesn't
A
pan
lot of
out well.
people, a lot of people are projecting that Detroit Minnesota game to be high scoring, but I don't know. I feel a little bit weird about it. Like both offenses are good, but it might be one of those struggles, where there's not a lot of scoring going on. I don't know. We're
It
gonna have to
it
see. It's gonna be a
absolutely
fun one
could
to
be,
watch.
man. They're saying it's going to be a shootout, but that's hard to predict, dude. With how
Yeah.
good Minnesota's defense is, like they could absolutely shut out the run game. Like Gibbs and Montgomery could just get stuffed, man, at the line. There could be not a whole lot of passing opportunities for Darnold. He's starting this week, right? Sam should be.
Yeah, he is.
Okay. Yeah, it'll be a fun matchup, man. It's it's so even, man. Because I mean, both teams, yeah, divisional match too. So this is a big one for these fans of these teams. So
Heck
we'll
yeah.
see. Yeah. Um, and then I have Brees Hall and Kenneth Walker in my running back slots, and he's got Jahmyr Gibbs and Josh Jacobs. Hall's got a hard matchup against Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, but I still like his upside. He's like last game against who did he play last game? Against Buffalo. He ran the ball 18 times for 113 yards. He was averaging about 6.5 per carry, and he got about 5 receptions for 56 yards. So I mean, he's getting the looks.
Yeah,
And
he's
he
one of
was he
those
almost
those those blue chip players that you have to start every week no matter what, just because of his
you
upside
do
and his talent. And I
absolutely.
just think
He's
that
had
that
a
Jets offense is just crippling him right now.
it's they're going to rely on Brees to show up and perform. And then firing Salah, I think the new interim head coach, like he wants to run the ball more. Like that is kind of like their MO. Like that's what they want to do. So
It'd
yeah,
be nice to see him get going again.
he's kind of a tough guy for me to bench, man. I don't really have
Yeah,
anybody else to, that production. You can't really replace that. So
no doubt.
then I have Kenneth Walker in my RB2 slot here, and I like his matchup a lot against the Falcons. I think he'll do well against the Falcons.
No doubt.
Should
No
should be a
doubt.
fun game there. A lot of points, and then he's got Josh Jacobs and Gibbs. So it's funny because in my redraft league, I'm actually benching Josh Jacobs this week.
Who'd you start over him?
Let me tell you. Oh, it was J.K. Dobbins, and
Okay,
I
that's fine.
have I have Brian Robinson as well.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's respectable for sure.
So in that league, I actually have Gibbs in that league starting. So I have Gibbs, Brian Robinson, and Dobbins, and then I sat Jacobs because I don't know, man. Jacobs has not been getting the touchdowns really.
Yeah.
This season he's been solid, but he's only really getting 10 to 12 points per week just on carries, and they do not run the ball when they're close to the red zone, man. Like Jordan Love is looking to throw that ball every time, basically.
Yep. I agree
So
with you.
with
Well,
with
we're
that, yeah. So
we're getting close to the full hour of the show
yeah,
this week.
yeah,
So I think we're gonna wrap it up. It sounds like we're super excited for that Minnesota Detroit game. Is there any other
absolutely.
game on the schedule that you were like super looking forward to, or is that pretty much the one for this week.
Let me check it out. Obviously, the Niners Chiefs, that's going to be a
Yep,
great one for folks to watch. Texans Packers is going to be very fun too, man. There's two
definitely.
really good games at that 10 a.m. time Pacific Standard for us. That's going to be really, really fun. And then the
Ooh,
Monday night game,
go ahead.
dude, Ravens Bucks. That's going to be a great one.
Yeah, I think that one's gonna be super exciting. I think the sneaky shootout of the week is gonna be Falcons Seahawks. I think we could see a lot of points scored in
Yeah,
that game. So if you got any fantasy players in
absolutely.
there, I'd fire them up.
Falcons are 4-2. I had no idea they were that good. Wow.
Yep,
Okay. Good for
yep.
them.
They've been putting on a show
Hmm.
recently.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they have the assets to do so. So, yeah, this is a fun week of football and can't wait to see what happens and we can talk about it next week, man.
Yeah, yeah, we're looking forward to getting a weekly show going. Maybe we may or may not be sitting in an auditorium next week. We'll see how it goes. We might have a split screen setup, but we appreciate anybody
Yes,
who's
sir.
listening and watching. So we'll see you guys next week.
Appreciate you guys.
All right,
Yes,
guys.
sir. All right. Peace.